Well, we got to do that's our intro. That's our intro. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tuesday afternoon. Sorry about that. We missed Monday. We both had some work conflicts. Welcome back to 757 Lacrosse Hour. Coach H, how are you, buddy?
Here we are, doing good, living the dream.
Let me say something up front, if I may. I've been getting some nasty grams, thank God, from friends, no randos.
I am looking over
on
the monitor
YouTube,
again.
making comments, but I get some friends making fun of me saying, Hargrave, why are you wearing long coats and jackets on that program, man? What's wrong with you? And Scott's making me feel a little bit better today that he's got his sweatshirt on, but I'll tell you what, I'm going through a little bit of a midlife cold crisis, Scotty. There's two reasons.
You're getting older, Mark.
I want your thoughts on that. I'm cold all the time. I can't get warm. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is I'm hiding a little work outfit here. I come over from work to do this program, so there's a couple reasons why I wear long coats. Stop making fun of me for it. Look, he's wearing a sweatshirt today. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm wearing my pajamas. I work from home full time.
Okay. Well,
these are my technically pajamas, which I think I actually wore to the games last night as well. I just live in these clothes.
It's been a little chilly.
I shower and I shave,
so do
a couple days ago, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look, we got a lot to unravel today. A lot to unravel. We're going to start with
Playoffs.
our public school boys playoffs. Let's back up a little bit to our game last Friday night with Cox and Kellum. As predicted, the great prognosticators that we are, Kellum took it pretty easy.
It is what it is. We watch these games, right? I watch to see how everyone handles these games, right? These scores when they get lopsided and stuff. It's important to me. We want to see good sportsmanship, and I saw that last night. I see again. I don't think Kellum coaches are trying to run up the scores and trying to score 1 million points. Okay, it's difficult in the games on both sides of it, for the other team and for the team that's on top. If you care, if you truly care. So again, it's hard. It's hard to then you empty the bench, right? Everyone gets in there, and then are you supposed to then tell those kids not to play anymore?
You can't. They put too much work into practice, and we've mentioned that before. You got to let them play. And like we said, we're getting into playoffs now, Scotty. If you want to run down what happened yesterday.
I mean,
to that.
Yeah, just shout out just to stay on Kellum just for a sec. Again, I think in lacrosse, the face-off unit and goaltending. Again, if you got guys that do that well, you're just going to win a lot of games by itself. So with Gavin Sinram, senior netminder, great captain, great leader for that squad. And then you got young buck Jake Lyons at the dot is really good. It's fun to play when you always have the ball on offense as an attack guy, right, Coach?
Make it take it, man.
Yeah,
only sport I can think of really where it's like that, where
But again, I'm gonna give a shout out, not because his mom's sitting here next to me, but number 20, number 1 in your heart, Kieran Auld. Again, great captain.
Good job,
just great leader. Really helping the young guys learn how to do it correctly out there. So really proud of him on that, just in that regard. Another captain, Matty Rogers, came over to Kellum. New guy, jumping in there, becomes a captain. Great mature kid, leader. He's the kind of kid, we had Yags on last week. To me, he's a Swiss Army knife kind of kid. Does whatever it takes to help this team win the game. So good shout out to him. Let's see, Gray Schleicher, another young buck, offensive guy, whatever you want to call it, midi attack. Really nice work out of him. And I'll pretty much leave it there. I mean, maybe I'll give a Jack Kelly a shout out to LSM. He's another young guy that's really does a great job out there. He great stick skills, great athleticism, and great IQ. Offense, defense, runs the field well. So.
And it's great to see these kids growing. And we've talked about this for the whole time we've been on. It's going to get real for those guys starting next week once they get out of the region. And it's no insult to Cox or anybody else, but it's going to start to get real. And those guys, we're going to see, what they can do against some higher competition up in Richmond and certainly Northern Virginia.
Yeah, Coach, I'm not trying to be the Kellum homer here. Obviously, Coach H has a vested interest in that team.
Sure.
But Coach McCoy from Salem, again, starting up a new team, a bunch of guys that never played. going into the castle last night and having
Right.
to go take those guys on. Did it with class, did the best effort, great enthusiasm by his crew, great body language by his crew the whole
Sure.
game.
Yeah.
I love that they didn't seem to focus on the scoreboard as it started getting out of hand. And he was with about his probably best player, number one, Jaden, LSM for Salem. So that would have helped out a lot having him out there. But,
And then Cox got another win last night as well. So, and as did FC. Great job by FC coming back to beat Ocean Lakes. Good job, Coach Luca and those guys. And Ocean Lakes fought hard. And then we had Princess Anne winners over Kempsville as well, if that's right. So those are basically your 4 teams. Am I correct, Coach?
Yeah, we had PA 15-3 over Kempsville. FC with one of the more exciting games. I stayed to watch that one last night.
Yeah.
1-goal game down to the wire. It was really back and forth. Really gritty performance by FC. I thought. OL, no excuses, but missing a lot of guys with injuries and stuff.
Sure.
Maybe been a different game.
But great close games like that,
We
especially
love
the
it.
playoffs are fantastic.
That's what we
no
want
matter
to
what
see.
league you're in, it's great. So yeah, again, those 4 teams, and then the winner gets out, or top 2 get out. Is that correct? Top 2 will make states.
Top 2 go to states.
Top
yes,
2
sir.
make states, and then again, it's that's where your bread's buttered. Then players, that's where we start to see you guys step up and win some games for this area.
If I didn't have any copyright issues or things on the podcast, I would have had a nice song I wanted to play for Coach DeLuca. Coach DeLuca, kickstart my heart, baby. Little Motley Crue. Let's get it rocking.
Absolutely.
That's how we roll. All right.
Classic
Anyway,
rock. Let's give a big shout out to our friends over at Nansman Suffolk Academy, winning the State 2 State Division II
D2,
Championship.
right? Yep.
State championship game, which I watched against North Cross, hard fought game in the rain, but those guys pulled it out as we also predicted. Great job by NSA bringing home a title for the area. Awesome job, and hey, great job to NA as well. That stab team put it on them that first game here at Norfolk Academy, 21-4, and for those guys to come back and be tied at the end of the 3rd quarter in that game, I watched that full game as well. Awesome job for those guys. That is a team that was primed to win a state title. Blue Ridge pulled it out in the championship, the battle of the boarding schools, as I like to say. So even more credit to Coach Tucker and those guys for hanging around against teams that really are able to handpick guys that they bring in from different states. That's just what you have to deal with. That's the way this is going. And so awesome job by NA to hang in there. And they had the horses to pull it out. So really proud of those teams that made that state tournament and showing up well. Really, really cool. We have another great guest today, a very important guest. And all of our guests have been important, but this lady is integral to the growth of lacrosse in this area. And she puts her time and effort in, along with a lot of other people as well. But we talk about growing the game and doing it the right way and how we are going to build ourselves up to be a great area for lacrosse. And she is right in the thick of it. And that's Toni Auld. She's the director of Coastal Crush, and she's going to be with us when we come back. The one thing that I will, sorry, Toni. The one thing I'll say is I was talking to Toni off the air before we got here, and we talked a little bit about getting the competitiveness up in these younger kids and throughout high school and how we do that. And I got to tell you, for any kid that was watching that MIAA championship last Friday, boys Latin against McDonough, that was a Division I lacrosse game that was being played in high school. I mean, that was absolutely incredible to watch.
Commit central on those teams, right?
Yes, and we say it all the time. Scott likes to say it, even though we talk all the time off the air about, no negatives, no if buts, but I think we like to say in this area, oh, well, we're just not Baltimore. I don't want to hear that. Talking to those guys, it's a culture.
What's my favorite word, Coach Hargrave? What's one of my favorite words? Players know. Yet,
exactly.
We're not that yet.
Not that yet, but I had the pleasure of talking to Mark Millen a little bit yesterday, who has become a friend over the years, and we just talked about building that culture up in Baltimore. And at those schools, if you're not doing it, you're just not going to play there. But there's no different water that they're drinking. There's no different food that they're eating. They're playing with the same equipment that you guys play with.
You have the special bread up there or something to eat? The
crabs.
PB and J's. Okay,
The-
maybe
the
that's a little
crabs.
seafood action. Okay.
But those guys they have built that culture up there into a competitive culture where if you don't make it at that level, you're just not going to play. And it starts in the youth league again, which we're going to talk to Toni about. But great game for our kids to watch to see how the game can be played at a high school level. Just quickly, I have a good buddy whose kid goes to St. Paul's. They beat Stab in a game scrimmage in March, I think they beat Stab 21-6 or 7. St. Paul's lost to BL in the semifinal 14-5. So that's what levels we're talking about here, kids. I mean, that's what it takes to get to that level, and the dedication and the commitment to getting the great players and great coaches in to make it happen. And we can do it around here, and we will.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back, but like I said, our next guest will talk a lot about that. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Toni Auld. Thank you.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League II Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
Let's get the guest shot over here.
Welcome
Yeah.
back. As I mentioned, we have Toni Auld, who's our boys and girls director of Coastal Crush, but she's also a connoisseur of the girls game in the area, which Scott and I have admittedly are ignorant about and have not
Working
brought up.
on it.
So before we get into our Coastal Crush stuff, Toni, can you talk a little bit about what's going on in the girls game in the high school level?
Yeah, so Cape Henry, they won the local TCIS program, so that was great. They squeaked past Norfolk Academy, so that was a really close game. It came down to the wire. Emma Hardy had the assist going over to Lila Mellett. She's a freshman at Cape Henry, so she's got a really big future over there too. Tonight we have the next round, the quarterfinals of the public schools for their playoffs, so that's really going to be exciting. You have Ocean Lakes will be matching up against Cox. Ocean Lakes has Molly Ryan and Summerlin Gates in there. They're both committed to playing at Mary Washington. Both solid players that have played for years. They play travel, and they're just really, they can play really any position on the field, so they can really transition the ball. You have Cox that has some really strong players in there too, Ryan Edmonds and Danny Killian. They have some solid players in defense in there too. They can really move the ball around, so that's going to be a good competitive game. On the next round, we've got Kellam playing Bayside. Bayside just beat Kempsville on last Friday. It was a close game. We were in there. I also coach over at Kempsville High School, so that was a close game for us. We were in there pretty much tied throughout the game. They were able to pull it out at the end. They have some strong players in there too over at Bayside. They have Carly Gerhardtstein. She's a junior attack. She's not afraid to go into the goal. And then you also got Limmy playing defense over there. She's a senior, and she can stand up with anybody. So if you think you're going to go up against the wall, she would be the wall you'd be going up against. And then Jasmine Vaughn and Larissa Ayub, they are very strong contenders in there too. And they'll be playing up against Kellam. And Kellam's got some really strong sophomores, and they got strong seniors in there too. You've got Alice Snyder, and you've got CC in there that'll be taking it in. So they both like to go around the crease. They like to take advantage of coming off X, and they like to do, if they see an open cut, they're going to take it. So it's really good to see the level and the competitive, and there's a lot of contact in girls lacrosse. People don't think there are, but there's a lot of contact in girls lacrosse. And then up on the HR LAC side, York just beat War Hill for the championship for HR LAC, so that was pretty exciting too.
Excellent.
You know, at York, you have some solid players in there too. Adriana Hernandez, she's an awesome goalie. She's going to be playing at college too. Then you've got Elizabeth Potrius and Marley Banks in there. That's the girls' helmet. That is optional that you can wear in the girls' lacrosse game.
Yeah.
It's not required, but it's optional. Oftentimes people think it's the same helmet of the boys, but it is not. It's more like just kind of a bicycle plastic shield on it. But it is the same ball. Everybody thinks that it's a different
That's
ball.
what I am. I'm Tour de
No,
France.
it's the same. I
It's
knew
the
that.
same ball. It's just a
Mostly
different
yellow,
color.
correct? Is that
Yep,
right?
they're just
Yeah.
yellow.
I'm Tour de France.
Tony, can you interrupt?
And then the
Can you-
stick head too. It's a different stick head as well.
But they're
So
getting pockets. The pockets are getting a little bit deeper than
they're
they.
getting a little more with the mesh, but you still, so on the boys' side you have it so that you can't see daylight from the sidewall down. Oh, I
Correct.
just have Scott
Stab
over
them
here.
again.
For the
Hacker.
girls, you
Wake 'em
can't
up.
see it from. It's got to be from the top, so you don't have as much of a pocket
Sure.
set up in there with it. And there's again, just like you have different boys that have high pocket, low pocket, different stick styles. It's the same way with the girls on that. So they have definitely developed with it. You do get a little more whip, which does make it a little more challenging for the goalies.
Yeah.
And playing defense because you're not supposed to have attack. The Kempsville goalie, we have a solid goalie over at Kempsville, Theo O'Neill. She had 296 saves in 2
Wow.
years. So she had a lot of shots coming at her.
It's only going to make it better.
Oh yeah, and she was definitely in there, and she stood up to a lot of those shots, and she got really aggressive in coming out. Sometimes you couldn't tell if she was on the field or if she was the goalie because she'd be stopping those passes, and that's a lot of it too when you're in there. So a lot of the teams in the girls' high school too are really growing and developing. At Kempsville, we have girls that are picking up the stick for the first time, along with girls that have played for a long time. Riley Auld, she's been playing for a long time and has been in the game for like 10 plus years. And then we have some new players that are really stepping up. Grace Homer and Kylie Ward. They're newer to the game and they're really coming out strong. And then we have, some freshmen in there that are, learning the game and coming in hard. And it's nice because we have swimmers, we have field hockey
I
players,
was
we
going to ask
have.
you, Coach, you find the girls recruiting their friends from the other sports to come in? to
Super.
help
We
grow the
definitely
team?
Super
do,
important.
and it's really nice that they do have that kind of variety of the different sports. Like swimmers, they come in and they can run all day. They got endurance and they're
Sure.
in shape, and the field hockey, that hand-eye, and same with basketball and stuff.
Yeah. Kids, we want the multi-sport athletes. Play everything, guys.
And also,
girls.
the boys and girls who want to play in college. College coaches want multi-sport athletes. They
They're-
don't want
yeah.
people playing lacrosse 24/7, 365. Tony, you mentioned about the girls' game, which I've seen just watching it on the college level. It has gotten so much better over the last 20 years, as the boys' game has as well. But the girls wearing the helmet, I'm a fan of too, because I think just with the athletes they have playing now, it's getting dangerous to be out there without a helmet. And girls like Charlotte North, just to mention, her, obviously everybody knows Charlotte, but I mean, these girls are starting to really whip that ball just as hard as the boys. What are your thoughts on that as far as the equipment?
I have a player on my team that can whip the shot at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So, and they're shooting, the idea with the girls program is the helmets are optional. As I said, they're kind of more of a bicycle kind of helmet, so they're not required. The thought process behind why they're not making it required is because then they might lower their head and go in harder.
Sure.
I'm also a referee. The challenge of it is there's a lot of subjectiveness with the girls' game because as a referee, if a girl gets hit in the head, I give them a card, which is a 2 minute. So that girl sits out for 2 minutes on that penalty. She was already hit in the head. That other girl that was hit in the head, she might be out for 2 to 3
that's
weeks.
right.
Trust.
because she just got clocked in the head. So we can give cards to the ones that are hitting them in the head, but the person that has taken the shot to the head, luckily a lot of girls have strong heads. They can take it. I mean, there's girls, black and blue arms, they've got it all. So I always joke that the girls really are as tough, if not tougher, because they don't have all the pads. They don't have all that protection on them. And it is the same ball that's flying at them. So, and there's contact on them. They have sticks on them, and they're to be aware when they're shooting that there's not somebody in front of them, but you can still, so I have my stick, I come through with the shot, and I could clock that person on top of the head. It just happened in our game last Friday.
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on the angle you see it, sometimes you don't see that. And, you know, the person you hope is okay and is able to get up and keep playing. And then, you know, unfortunately, again, if they get the card, if they don't get the card, that person still stays out there and keeps playing, just like in boys. You know, you throw the flag and they sit out for their penalty. And not in girls, you have 2 yellow cards and then you're out of the game for the rest of the game. It's only 2.
So my argument with all the purists is why the different rules? Why no gear? When I'm watching girls hockey, it's hockey, like the boys. When I'm watching basketball, it's basketball, like the boys. Soccer is soccer. But then you get lacrosse. And, you know, as a lifetime lacrosse guy, I'm trying to figure out the rules out there.
Right.
And some of the subjective things, I don't understand what's happening. And then besides the concussed action with this, the poor goalies then have to face a free shot at them.
Right.
I don't understand why they have to suffer the pain and suffering for that. Make the infractor go stand in the goal. Make her save the ball, for crying out loud.
Well, the idea is when you get that, it's a free possession, kind of like a free throw. So the idea is, so there's a 3-second lane as well in the girls lacrosse game. So the idea is that when you do foul on them in the critical scoring area, kind of like in the lane in basketball, that if you get that foul, then you get up on the free throw. It's the same kind of concept as far as that goes. So what they can do is they can take that shot from the 8 meters, they can pull it out, they can move it around. There's other options. They don't have to just fire it into there.
When I'm watching a couple of my favorite Kellum girls, Cadence Moss, poor Cadence in the cage, has to see the free shot.
Yeah.
But then when Snyder gets the ball, I'm all happy because she's going to rip it 70 miles an hour and score every time. So Ella's doing fantastic out there. Love
So
watching
Toni,
her.
and to transition a little bit into the Coastal Crush stuff, we'll start with the girls first. Has the number of participants picked up in the last 3 years? Can you talk a little bit about how that's coming along for the girls' game in the lower levels, or younger levels, you should say?
Yeah, so we just finished up our spring season. I tried to get you guys out in the rain, but you're gonna melt because you're all made
I'm
of
so
sugar and
sweet, made of
spice. I know.
sugar, Coach H.
So we just finished up our spring season, and we had 1,000 kids that were out there. And so what we do is we separate out the age groups. So we have kindergarten and first grade as one age group, second and third grade as one age group, fourth and fifth grade as one age group, and then we have middle school. Since all the schools are set up with middle school going 6 through 8, we set it up middle school 6 through 8 as well, because to separate them out. So, and each one of them have different rules. So you have 14U rules, you have the 12U rules, you have the 10U rules, and then you have the 8U rules. So it's really hard if you try to combine like a third grader with a sixth grader, because that's 2 different sets of rules that you're actually covering with.
And that age difference at that age
It's
makes,
a huge
makes
age
big,
difference.
Two different
big
lengths
difference.
of legs.
Yeah, and boys or girls, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we've talked about. You are separating out in the middle school by school district.
Yeah, so
That's
when everybody registers, we set them up by the school area that they go to, because we want them to continue to play, and if they stay in their high school area, then they feed into that high school program, and then they continue to make that high school program that much stronger.
Yes.
You know, we have like Pam's will keep all the Princess Anne middle, and if they stay together, they feed into the Callum. We have quite a few Pam's kids, and you know, Callum teams are pretty solid out there. We have Great Neck. You know, we have a lot of players from that area as well. Well, we have players from all over the area. We have Williamsburg and War Hill. We have a lot of players, and you know, it came in York too. And the HR Lax Championship came down for the girls' side, came to War Hill and York, and a lot of those girls, you know, they play in that, and you know, Coastal Crush, or they do travel or something in that youth league. We are set up where we are recreation, so we do have kids that have never picked up a stick before to kids that have played travel, and it's a good combination because then they, teaches the travel to, as a younger youth area, today's attack could be tomorrow's goalie. I've had so many kids that I've had in the goalie box, and then I'll see them in high school, and they're an attack out there, and it's helped them because they can see the angles and they can know where to come in at and things.
You've walked in the shoes. You get
Exactly,
perspective.
and
Absolutely.
it teaches them to respect everybody on their team because they've played in those different positions.
Sure.
I've had teams that I've coached myself that I've had 4 goalies on them one year, and then the next year I have, one goalie that you're like, who's playing goalie kind of thing. So it's nice to be able to have them play in different positions because, again, as they get into high school, there's been plenty of high schools that, they don't need 20 poles. So then they'll shift it over, and same with the girls' side too. They don't need, 20 attack going out there and playing. They also need some defense, and you need midfielders. And I always laugh when I'm out like, who plays defense? And 2 people will raise their hand. I'm like, well, you're never going to get the ball if you don't, go after it and try to get the ball.
Sure.
Everybody plays defense. Attack plays defense. Everybody plays defense.
One of the things, and that's great to hear. And one of the other things that we've stressed here is the youth coaching and getting great coaches to teach great fundamentals to these boys and girls. And you and I talked a little bit earlier about the coaches that you have. Can you talk a little bit about the number of coaches and the number of coaches with experience? It was a very positive thing, in my opinion.
So we're very fortunate in our area. So Katie Hardy, she's the other one that runs Coastal Crush along with Lauren Logan, and she also coaches over at Ocean Lakes High School too, which is a very strong girls program as well. She built that program from having to combine 3 teams to now they have enough to have a JV and a varsity team over there. Yeah. So we've been very fortunate with coaches. We have over 100 adult coaches that we work with, that majority of them have a lacrosse background as well. And so we provide training, we provide resources. Over before the season started, we had, coach training, and, we had Ryan Tucker out there and Tom Duquette, and I had, Taylor Schooler, the goalie from CNU out there, and I had, Angela Parker, she played at Merchant Marine. So, we try to bring in coaches to train them and do it too, and then we bring in the officials to kind of go through so they have an understanding of them. We also work with the officials so that as the junior officials are training, we'll bring in the kids so that they can have games so that they can practice on and stuff too.
Great idea.
I love it.
Yes.
Humanize the officials first of all. Show the kids that they're out there just like us. So and we can't play without the refs.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And a lot of the times too, with the adult coaches and things that we have, we're very fortunate that a lot of them have been with us over all the years that we've been doing Coastal Crush, and as they age out, there's opportunities that they could coach into that high school realm because they've had that experience of coaching, they've had that training, they've understand working with the kids at that younger mentality and working with all the different things that kids have, all the different personalities and thought processes and motivation and all the things that go with it. They can carry that with them as they go into high school, and if there's opportunities into there, then they're experienced and ready to go into those positions as well if needed. And
you got it. As a coach, you have to find your way. You have to find your style as a coach, and it takes time. You can have an All-American player, right, from Virginia or Syracuse come in, and he or she may not be a great coach at first.
Yes.
You have to find your way, and just like you said, you have to find personality of the kids. There's 4 or 5 different personalities, right, to every kid, maybe even more. So it takes time. It takes time to get your style down, and hopefully it's a positive, good style. A couple more questions for you. What would you like to see this become with Coastal Crush? Where do you see this going in 5 to 10 years?
We'd like to just continue to have it grow, to have more kids have opportunities to play. We do offer scholarships for kids as well. We do scholarships because we don't want kids to not play because of any financial challenges. We would like everybody to kind of try to set aside more of that kind of stigma that comes with lacrosse, so that it is real. The pads and the equipment that you buy, you can wear for several years.
Right.
I know people that do swimming and they pay $120 for every 3 months for a swimsuit, you know, and you buy the lacrosse gear and you can wear it for years until they basically outgrow it. So then we provide scholarships, and we really work hard to try to provide a positive environment so that we work with the officials so that they're getting educated and understanding the game more and how to blow that whistle and stuff. So as they continue to play at games and officiate, they can maybe take that into the high school so that we don't have to have, you know, high school games and, you know, everybody playing on one night because that's all the officials we have,
Right.
you know.
That's what we have
So
now,
we have a lot of boys and girls, junior officials in there that are learning and getting more, you know, learning more about the game and becoming more confident in, you know, using officiating and things like that, which hopefully that'll take them into that next level. And wherever they go to college in the area or outside, they can become an official. You know, they can ref wherever they're at. So that's really great. Then they can learn more about it, and if they come back to the area, then they can ref, and we keep it growing that way. So I'd just like to keep it in. If it were to get into all the middle schools and stuff, that would be fantastic too. So we would be happy to work with, you know, we work with the schools now. We work with Virginia Beach schools. We work with schools on the peninsula. We work with schools in all the different areas. So that if we can get it into starting at that middle school, we'd be more than happy to work with them to continue to have it within the schools. And again, we have some awesome coaches that can maybe even kind of help and do that as well to help fill that as they come in and stuff too. And then, you know, then that keeps it growing and developing into the strong programs up into, you know, so the green runs and.
Yeah, but that's I'm gonna be the opposite here. So the devil's advocate says, what about the cost barrier to entry for kids? How are we helping that? You know, this economy is rough right now. Everything's expensive. How are you going to convince a single parent family to buy a lacrosse helmet?
We do things where we have leave one, take one, where if people want to leave gear, because you know how it is, we have a lot of coaches that I have a kid that needs some equipment, I need some goggles, I need a stick, so then we'll kind of put it out, and then we're able to locate them. We've received some grants from USA Lacrosse, so we have some gear that way too. What we do as well for all of our teams, we provide goalie gear for all of our girls and all of our boys teams, so that if somebody wants to try being a goalie, they don't have to worry about being goalie for life, you know, because everybody's like, I don't want to be a goalie.
For 3 games.
Exactly. And then they're, you know, because sometimes they're hesitant, and then that way if they try goalie and they go, hey, I really like being a goalie, I want to go get my own gear, they can do that, but they don't have to do it just to play. So all of our girls and boys teams, we provide goalie gear for them so they can try out the position. And we do have scholarships that are available for all the families and things as well.
So before we go, talk a little bit about your schedule with the Coastal Crush, about which I love. You said to me just a few minutes before we came on is we obviously in the summer we want them to take a break. We want them to go swim and surf and play whatever they want to do. Right, play tag outside. But do you have stuff coming up in the fall? How can people discover Coastal Crush if their boy or girl is interested in lacrosse?
So we have camps that we're going to be doing over the summertime and things. And the other thing that we're really excited about too, we work a lot with the local colleges and universities and stuff too. Chaz Woodson over at Hampton University.
Yep.
Yeah, he's awesome. Lisa Valentine over at CNU.
Yep.
Mikey Thompson. So we share their information for their camps too. We also working with Little Laxers, so they do the younger age group, and we're working on them with a camp with them too. In the fall, we do a fall indoor league, which is a blast. So we take, we basically take the outside game, we just bring it in. It's just indoor lacrosse. And we play that for 4 Sundays in the fall, and the kids have a blast playing that. And everybody's always excited, like, oh, that was so much fun. What are you doing in the wintertime? We offer winter skills over the winter if they want to get a stick in their hand. But we're like, go play basketball, go play volleyball, go do flag football. Mm-hmm. So then when the season starts up again in the March, you're excited to grab your stick again. Sometimes I see it's like, a kid when they get a new skateboard, they're all excited for like that month and they want it every day. But then after a little bit, it can kind of become not so exciting. So we want to, the cross sports and, you know, the different things that they learn from different, you know, coaches and teammates and different environments and sporting, it really carries. I tell people all the time, you know, lacrosse, the other games that kids are kind of more familiar with, basketball, and lacrosse is older than that. Lacrosse is like 200 years
That's right.
older than basketball. So, you know, and I tell them, you know, that basketball game that you love, fantastic. You know, there's pieces of lacrosse that are in that. You know, there's pieces of lacrosse in soccer. There's pieces of lacrosse in football. There's pieces of lacrosse in volleyball. You
I'd
know,
argue that
so
basketball's the same game.
yeah. So that's why it's really great for them to continue to, you know, I mean, one winter with my kids, we did fencing. You know, it's like, oh, let's do fencing because we can, and it's something different.
And I think getting different, you talk about angles and stuff, getting different angles, even playing tag and understanding how to tag somebody, right? Or playing football and understanding how to guard somebody as a cornerback, or to take an angle as a linebacker, or soccer for girls, basketball for boys and girls. It all intertwines with lacrosse.
I was a neighborhood All-American in the neighborhood sports.
Yeah,
Tag,
I was pretty
a
good
lot
with
of
football,
balloons,
believe it or
yeah.
not. I was all
Bike,
right.
bike jumping.
Yeah. Well, Toni, out of any of our guests that we have, you are the most vital to the growth of the sport in this area, and I mean that. You are, and your folks who are with you over at Coastal Crush are doing the work to get our area where we want to be. So we cannot thank you enough for that. And just, I think anybody that watches this is going to see your passion, your knowledge, and your ability to get this done. So we wanted to genuinely thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And any way we can help out, or
I love your perspective. I
Yes.
love your different hats you wear as a parent of a kid.
Yeah,
Of kids,
parent,
of
rep,
kids,
coach,
all of that.
director.
but
Yeah,
also
it's
just
a lot. Yeah,
that you care. And you and
We
I
do.
know each other for a while, but just
yeah.
the amount of time and effort and the care that you put into all the kids is the only way that in any area gets better at lacrosse, and you're doing it. And we thank you so much. And thank you for coming on.
Appreciate
And
you.
we're going to
Thank
have
you.
you back too to talk about, you know, the winners of the girls. We'll at least get you via phone call or something to see who ends up where. And again, girls, boys, let's get these state titles. Let's
go.
compete. Awesome. Thank you
Go,
so much,
VB.
Tony.
Thank you.
For
Thanks for
everything.
having
Thanks,
us on.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me on.
Awesome. All right, we're going to
Hey,
be right
stay
back. We have
tuned.
another great guest
Exciting.
that's coming on here in a minute, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Over now.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. You need John Maynard. PFP, LUTCF, EA, all those initials behind his name mean he's qualified to work on your taxes. He's an ATA, accredited tax advisor. He's an ATP, accredited tax preparer. He's a fellow at NTPI, the National Tax Practice Institute. And if all that weren't enough, he's also been voted the best of Norfolk and the best of Virginia Beach awards. John Maynard has been professionally trained in tax preparation and representation. He brings to the table over 30 years' experience in federal and state returns. He delivers personalized, one-on-one service, and he's a certified electronic filer. The IRS likes electronic filers. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service, 455-6763.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
Welcome back, everybody. We have a really special guest here again. a guy that I met a few years back at the national championship game when he was playing for Merrimack for my buddy Mike Morgan, and that is PLL professional lacrosse player Charlie Bertrand. Charlie, welcome to the program. How you doing? I don't know if you can hear Charlie. I think he's unmuted. Charlie, how you doing?
There we go.
Hey, I'm doing great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, I'm having trouble hearing Charlie, but I'm going to assume that we can all hear him. Yeah, Charlie, man, welcome. We got the upstate New York versus the Long Island, New York battle with me and Hargrave here. So of course I'm winning because we got a Beeville native upstate New Yorker on here, Charlie Bertrand. So Charlie, man, so stoked to have you on, man. Thanks for joining us. This is huge. It's really fun for us to be able to sit here and talk to guys like you and just kind of talk about your path to get to where you are, man. You know. It's really cool. I'm a Liverpool boy, Syracuse suburb, Charlie's Beeville. We're Section 3 high school rivals. He probably modeled his game after Mark Hoteling back in the day. One of the original Beeville Bees to go up to the Tues. But yeah,
absolutely.
We're trying to do down here. Again, Mark and I are spoiled. We grew up with football. We're trying to do that down here. So we're trying to bring all that stuff to Virginia Beach, coastal Virginia, but really we're trying to humanize it. We were little once at Beeville, playing little kid lacrosse, you know, and then you grow up through all these things, and then you go and you played multiple sports. And then all of a sudden, here you are. But yeah, I joke with the players all the time. I say, if a human can do it, then of course, they turn it on me. Well, Coach Dave, why aren't you like a rocket scientist or something, or an astronaut? I mean, okay, because no one told me when I was 12, Coach Hargrave. That's why. But yeah, Coach.
Can we hear Charlie? Can you talk a little bit? I don't know if we're still having technical difficulties here.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, we can't hear him.
Can't hear me.
Turn up. Matt or Nick, can we help? This is what it is, folks. We got technical difficulties coming. I don't know if we want to take a quick break. Charlie, say something.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Hold on. All right, we may have to cut out here.
Can you hear me now?
To get this fixed. And all right, hold on. We're going to take a timeout. We got 2 timeouts per half,
all right? Yeah.
We're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be right back.
Make sure you're in the box, though.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar, IV hydration and vitamin therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
I think we're back. All right, Charlie, say something, Charlie. Yeah, well, now we can hear you. That was user error, folks. We got our little earpieces, so sorry about that, Charlie. We already did your intro a little bit, but I'd like you to talk about yourself and your journey with lacrosse, and it's been such a great one. So if you can talk a little bit about your life through lacrosse, that'd be great for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on. I know Coach Holava talked a bit about the upstate roots, so it definitely goes back to Baldwinsville, and certainly proud to be from there. And of course, growing up, you hate Liverpool, you hate West Gen, you hate all those rival schools, but
we were the whipping boys in Section 3.
Yeah, but when you get a little bit older and you look back on it, I feel like it's all one big culture there. And you mentioned that we're a bit spoiled in terms of growing up with so much lacrosse in our area, and I certainly felt that way. Just having two older brothers and a lot of friends around the neighborhood that had lacrosse sticks in their hand, and they were playing in the backyard. And the other thing you mentioned is just humanizing it, and it's so true, because I was one of those guys. I was running around the backyard playing basketball, football, like any sport I could play, depending on the season that I was playing. I was a big hockey player my whole life growing up, and I didn't even really necessarily focus on lacrosse and consider it my primary sport until maybe 10th grade.
That's
so I think,
Charlie, I hear you on that. It's weird.
Yeah, so I think growing up, it was really just playing for the love of it. I certainly was playing to get better, but I wasn't putting in any crazy hours. I wasn't playing year round. I had a lot of other things to do, and the point of being spoiled, we had a lacrosse camp every summer. Coach Fiorini and Coach Donahue put it on. They're guys that were coaching at Baldwinsville for 30 plus years. And I just remember every Thursday, you have to get stick tricks to try to beat one of the counselors. And the counselors were just the varsity players or guys that came back from college. And that in itself would just make me, after camp every day in the summer, would go home with a couple of my buddies and try to do stick tricks together and try to put together a couple things that would get us a free popsicle on Thursday. So it was as innocent as that. But I feel like just opportunities like that in upstate were what allowed me to have a stick in my hand and continue growing the game, so that when I did decide that I wanted it to be my primary sport, I had a pretty good base of knowledge and skill in the game to build off of.
Charlie, one of the things that impresses me about you is you're a guy, although like you said, like Scott and I as well, spoiled with lacrosse on Long Island and the state of New York in general, but one of the things that really impressed me is you're not a guy that was heavily recruited out of high school. You were picked up by my good buddy Mike Morgan at Merrimack, but can you talk about again your fortitude to say, okay, you know what, I'm not a guy that was looked at by a Syracuse or a Hofstra or even like a Marist, any Division I school. Talk about your route with Merrimack and your humbleness to say, again, maybe I'm not the most recruited guy, but I'm going to prove at this school what I can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I talk to players, I really viewed myself as an above average high school player. And that's why I think there's so much potential in kids when they get to college. I think a lot of people are really caught up into what school they're going to go to. Is it Division I? Are they going to win a championship? This and that. And at the time, I thought I wanted to do engineering, so it kind of narrows down your search. And then from there, I'm reaching out to any school I could just because I wanted to continue playing lacrosse at the next level. But I didn't get any interest from schools. The one school that offered me was Merrimack and Coach Morgan, and I was incredibly excited for that opportunity to be wanted by a Division II school that at that point had never even been to a national championship. So I think I was interested in the fact that they were competing at a high level. And of course, I was watching Lemoyne games growing up, being in the Syracuse area, so I was familiar with that conference. But I think going in with the mindset of, I just hope I can get to Merrimack and be on the man up. I think that was legitimately my thought going into college. Where I was coming out of high school, I did get selected to the all CNY team, but I was never player of the year, or I was never first team, or whatever it may be. I was noticed for having good seasons, but I didn't excel above and beyond a lot of the other high school athletes were doing at that time.
You go to Merrimack, you're an absolute stud there. Again, I watched you win the national championship. You dominated that game. Then you take your final year and you go to a program like Virginia. I know I'm not going to be insulting you when there was probably a lot of people who said, there's no way that kid is going to go get any time at a school like Virginia. He's a Division II guy. It's a different game. It's slower. The level of play is not nearly where it is at a University of Virginia.
So
what
false.
do you do mentally before you get to Virginia for that season? What are your thoughts? What did the work that you put in, and how did you prepare yourself to compete against those guys?
Yeah, I definitely had to go in with an open mindset. For me, I want to make sure I went in and contributed right away. I didn't know in which way that would be. Certainly, your mindset has to be that you want to achieve the hardest goal possible. So I want to go and start at attack, but I didn't necessarily get that goal. So more importantly, I wanted to be in a position to help out the team in any way I could and be a guy that came in and fit seamlessly in the culture of the program. So I didn't want to be a guy that would be putzing around, that I'm not starting on attack or whatever it may be. I got moved to midfield. I got moved to second line midfield after 4 or 5 games in the year. And I rode out second line midfield that whole year. And we ended up having a really good unit. It was me, Peter Garner, Xander Dixon, who's in the PLL now. Like, of course, it's a different program where everybody on that team is a top recruit coming out of high school. But I think just coming in with the mindset that I have expectations and goals in mind. I have lofty goals in mind, but more importantly, whatever comes, I just want to be a good teammate. I want to contribute in any way I can that is going to help our team move in a positive direction. And again, be on a team that had a chance to go deep into May in the playoffs. So I knew that playing a role style or role player on the second line mid was super important and pivotal in those important games in May.
Yeah, Charlie, we had your buddy, your new teammate, potentially, Chase Yeager on last week, right?
Yes, yeah.
And you're speaking to the mindset that I love, and I call it the Swiss Army knife mindset. It's, I'm gonna do lots of stuff really well. I'm not gonna be a one-trick pony guy, but more importantly, your mindset of doing whatever you could do to help the team, and being that guy is, to me, besides the sports, and we're talking about lacrosse and winning championships and all that, but if you get out of lacrosse and into life and into real job and all those things, it's just going to help you so incredibly down the road, man. Down the road.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's also important to look at it like tactically. What can you do? Because everyone can say they can have that mindset, but how are you putting yourself in a position to actually contribute in a bunch of different ways? So I attribute a lot of that to my coach, Kyle Smith at Merrimack. I was an on-ball dominant guy. I would shoot the ball a lot. I would dodge a lot. But in practice, he would have me playing off-ball quite a bit. So now I'm working on a bunch of skills that I didn't necessarily have before. Even coming into Merrimack, I think I had a good freshman year. And he was like, listen, you got to be in shape. You got to be able to, if someone's going to shut you off, you got to be able to be cut out and be quick enough to go grab the ball and have the endurance to dodge multiple times. So I feel like I really focused on my fitness through freshman, sophomore year at Merrimack, which was a huge step in the right direction for me to start taking these steps forward. And on top of practicing different skill sets throughout, not just practice at Merrimack and games, but on your own at the wall, in the backyard, wherever it may be, so that it put me in a position when I got to UVA. It was, okay, I'm not going to be the ball dominant guy anymore. My mind says I want to help the team in any way, and I know that I've put in the time and preparation on my own where I can come play an off-ball role, or I can set hard picks and watch film to see how I can fit in other ways.
Well, I watched you do that in that national championship game against Limestone. They did a good job, I think, in that first half of limiting your attempts to shoot the ball, but your off-ball work in that second half really open things up for yourself and for your teammates. So I've watched that personally. You do those skills, and what a great thing for young kids to hear. A guy like you who's now playing professionally. Again, you go to Merrimack, you have 1 year at Virginia, and then you get the opportunity to play pro. Can you talk a little bit about the level of PLL, although we can all obviously take a pretty educated guess of what it is. How is that playing professional lacrosse as opposed to college?
It's fast. I think that's what your guess was. But it really is. It's when you go from, when you're playing at Virginia, you're playing Division I, you're playing the best guys in the country. So it's still those same types of players that you're playing, but now you just consolidate them all into one team. And certainly the 19-man roster makes it a pretty tough roster to make every year. And it's certainly very competitive. But I think just the rule changes is the biggest thing you have to adjust to. We got the face-off now with the 32-second shot clock. Obviously, the field is shorter, the 2-point shot. So I don't think it's as much an adjustment to the players as it is an adjustment to the game and finding cohesion within your team. Because, playing in college, you're practicing every single day, and you're doing film 3 times a week. We don't have the ability to do that type of resources in the PLL right now. So finding cohesion and chemistry within your team is a bit more of a challenge than it is in college. But I think that's what sets you apart in terms of winning games.
If you had to take 1 or 2 things that lacrosse has helped you in your now adult life, and even as a kid growing up, what are 1 or 2 things that you take away from the game that will stick with you after you're done playing?
I think the one thing that pops into my head is self-confidence. I think self-confidence is the most important mindset or skill, I guess I would even say, that you can develop.
It's a skill.
It really is. And it's funny because you say, oh, lacrosse gave me confidence, but really over the years, there's so many times that it humbles you, right? But that's where you have to turn to what you're going to do about it. And I think one of my favorite quotes talks about how the only way to get self-confidence is through preparation. So what are you going to do to get self-confidence? So when you see yourself fail or you have a bad season, a bad game, whatever it may be, or in a couple-week drought, and then what you do to prepare to get better, and then you see the result of that, and you're like, wow, I put in the work. I see the tangible result now of being prepared. Now I have confidence that I can do this on the field. And when I go into life and I have a job and I have a presentation coming up, I'm going to be practicing that presentation every day because I know when I get in the spot, I'm going to know it like back in my hand, and that'll give me confidence to say I know what the material that's on the board.
Attention to detail and back to fundamentals, right? It doesn't matter what you do in life. That's really what it all comes back to. This is probably a bad question for you. This is not a fair question to ask you. What's going to happen this weekend? Who do you got?
UVA.
Let's go.
Take it. I will say that was an incredible game to watch this past weekend. You mentioned Chase Yeager was on the call last week. He had a great overtime. Conor Schellenberger is one of the best players I've ever played with, and he deserves it more than anyone in terms of showing up in those big time moments and putting his print on the game.
Coach Hargrave and I are taking full credit for the UVA win. We had Yeager on the cast before the game. We talked it up. We manifested it to happen. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go.
Love it.
Hey, I want to backtrack, Charlie. I tried to backtrack on you. You were talking about the skill level, right, in the PLL, right? And I argue this all the time, even at our high school and college levels, that X's and O's are overrated to me. But you're out there with your level of guys. Our X's and O's, does it matter so much?
Great question.
It's guys making plays.
That's a great question.
Everybody's good.
It's a very good question.
So, okay, X's and O's.
So, what I will say is I think X's and O's are incredibly important, especially at the beginning of the season, to get everybody communicating on the same page. Especially when you have a team of guys coming from different backgrounds where you may have played this style of offense or this style of offense. Once you get that cohesiveness and people are communicating the same and talking about the same types of looks on the field, then I think the freedom opens up where guys are just making plays. But I do think the X's and O's are super important at the front half of the season to give yourself a base of this is what we're going to be doing, and then allow that offense to develop throughout the year.
I do have one more question because it is championship weekend. From a mindset, from a player who has been in championship weekend, what are those guys? What are they going through right now? Even on a Tuesday afternoon, how do you prepare for that? I mean, you can't get away from. I know the confidence. You're right. You're playing with guys at that level. You're hoping they're confident. You're hoping that they have the skill level, which you all do. What is your mindset though? Come Thursday, Friday, and then going into that weekend. How do you prepare yourself mentally more than with the X's and O's?
I think for a weekend like this, there's no way to get around how much you're likely thinking about it or trying to prepare for it. So I think more than anything, it's just trying to be in your routine and act like it's any other day, like whatever you did last Tuesday. Are you going to eat the same things? Are you going to get the same amount of sleep? Maybe a couple guys go see a movie on Wednesday night to get their mind off things. Like just try to be distracted a little bit, because when you're at practice or you're in the film session, you're absolutely dialed in. And for those guys that I think everyone's individually different, where if you need to be all lacrosse, all scout, all whatever you focus on for this weekend, then you should do that. But as an offensive minded guy, that certainly you're watching the film, you're reading the scout, you're doing what you need to do. For me, it's 15 minutes of mobility before bed every night. I think that's the one thing I've added to my routine that maybe not everybody does, where I hit massage guns. So those types of routine things, I think you got to keep important. But at the same time, I think it's good to get some distractions as long as the guys and the team are together and you're continuing to build the bonds among.
Listen, Charlie,
Keep that body stretched out, Charlie.
You're not going to like what Coach Holava has on right now. Coach, what's your prediction?
I mean, if I was Irish, my eyes would be smiling or something like that, right? I mean, to me, again, it is what it is. If I had to pick the upset, I got to go with the Pios, and I could not find my Davy Crockett hat. But if I had one, it would be underneath this other hat. But yeah, I mean, it's our Yags. Prove me wrong, baby. It's gonna be UVA Notre Dame championship, and then we'll talk next week, and we'll see what I'm gonna wear. Again,
Notre Dame's got a really good team.
Swashbuckling Cavalier outfit. There's got to be a couple of those around this town.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's tough. And again, Charlie, you've been there. I have not. But it's hard as a player or former player, and you're a current player, not to look at those guys on Notre Dame and just how locked in they are. And everybody talks about the Kavanaughs, and rightfully so, because just the way that those guys ride, to me as a former attackman, is just incredible to see the tenacity.
Coach Hargrave,
they cannot stop.
Just to that point, Charlie, I expect to see you this in the PLL. Okay, man. Greatest compliment I ever got from a coach. He called me a complete player. As an attackman, I was a riding SOB. I mean, I wanted the ball back. Yeah. I did whatever it took to get the ball back for my guys. And I love that part of the game. It's part of the game. So, again, back to I want to do everything well. I was better at other stuff and everything. But, again, I worked on the weaknesses, man. I wanted to be complete. I wanted to be whatever I could do to help my guys win the game.
And those are the type of plays that get the entire team to rally behind you. That's how you become a leader. One of the best leaders I've ever had the pleasure of playing with was Zach Greer the past couple of years in Las Vegas for the NLL season. And I mean, I think he's 38 years old now, and he's running around on the floor just absolutely mucking it up, getting loose balls, like doing all the nitty gritty plays that make me just want to follow him and be that type of player. So
Charlie,
I really respect the way the Kavanaughs play, and Notre Dame's got a really good team.
I'm 57, Charlie. I was playing 3-by on Sunday.
I was running sprints in my
thumbs are still wrecked from those hackers out there.
That's right. I was running sprints. I got to get my butt in shape to play Summer League. Charlie, thank you so much for coming on. That was a great perspective.
I'd be remiss if I didn't. I got my dad hat on now, Charlie. When my kid Jake said he was going to go to Merrimack, I said, "Where the hell is Merrimack? What is Merrimack? D2? What is that?" I thought of Lemoyne, going, "Okay, D2, all right." But wow, what a run to be a lacrosse guy like me. That didn't have a kid go play and continue to play your sport. It's awesome. But I didn't care what sport my kids play. We demanded they played sports, like you said. Whatever was in season was in the garage. Pick it up and go do it.
And I'll say, Charlie, that was a fun night in Philadelphia. Afterwards.
Darn right, man.
That was
Wow.
a lot of
yeah.
fun.
Really good.
We had a good time that night.
Really
after
fun.
That championship.
But yeah, to be then about your kid go do that on that stage and do all that, man. What a joy! It's incredible.
Yeah.
Man. Incredible. So
Charlie, thank you so much, man.
good
We
time,
really
Charlie. Appreciate you, man. Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, 100%. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Best of
Let me
luck.
see. I got to read my thing. I can't read with my Irish eyes on here.
Oh, yeah, okay. Coach Holava has something to take us out, and
It says women's NCAA.
Coach
is
Tony's
this
got it
weekend,
for us.
too.
'Cause I can't read because my eyes
So
are
the
blinded.
Yes,
women's
Tony, please.
NCAA tournament is this weekend too. So we got Boston College is playing Syracuse, which will be a
Go
really
Orange.
good matchup.
Go
and then
Orange,
we got
I admit.
Northwestern playing
Upstate,
Florida, which will be another
upstate.
really good
Florida
matchup
made
too.
it. Yeah.
Yep, Florida got up in
Great
there. Yeah,
program.
they had some really good games in there, and they were able to really step it up, and they have some really strong attack going
Mm-hmm.
in there. So don't forget the women they're
No,
playing
those
as well.
girls can play.
You know,
man.
honestly, to just quickly speak to Florida lacrosse, I think it's slightly ahead of Coastal Virginia as far as
Let's
far as
be honest.
growing the game.
Oh, no, they've done it.
well,
amazing
fair,
job.
maybe they're further, but
Yeah, I think,
but again,
I
they
think
were.
they are.
It's Florida. It's
Yeah.
not upstate New York, so they're putting a bunch of kids out there.
Raleigh,
Anyway,
Charlotte.
sorry to
they've done a
digress
great
on you
job,
guys.
too. All right, Coach, you got something to take us out. Charlie, you can stay on for this.
I might have to take off my my glasses. I might have to put on the actual glasses. You know, we usually, Charlie, we get a Mindset Monday in here because you said the word about a dozen times on the call today. And to me as a coach, I don't think X's and O's are overrated. I think we put a lot of focus on those. We could be putting focus on other things to help us win, like mindset. So on this, I like to talk to that stuff. And today we went long, so it was fun. It was a fun call today with everybody on this. So I'm going to leave with a poem like I do, one of my favorites. I try not to cry on these, but I'm like Dick Vermeil of the lacrosse world here. But, it's one of my favorites. And if you guys aren't readers, pick up a book. Read stuff. There's so much stuff out there. It's knowledge is free, guys. But this is Teddy Roosevelt, citizen in a republic. I call it the man in the arena. I think that's what many might know it by, but here goes. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or when the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Thank you very much.
Love it. Teddy Roosevelt from Oyster Bay, Long Island, my neck of the woods. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will see you next week with a lot of fun results from both sides. Thanks.
Go over and out. Make it a great day, everybody.